An ancient, deserted automobile was discovered by a wandering child in a jungle. When he was going through it, he came across something really startling that would alter his life forever. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. When he was little, Justin Jones enjoyed being outside. He enjoyed exploring, going on walks, and being in nature. He was truly pleased there. His family would go trekking together because they were all avid nature enthusiasts. The Jones family did not go to the beach or play board games as other families did. Whether it was a forest, hills, or mountain, they would drive to the top of popular hiking locations around the nation and start walking, eager to discover where their travels would take them. The Jones family made the decision to embark on their next trip one weekend. They then gathered their belongings, got into the car, and drove off. They traveled around 100 kilometers from their house to a wilderness. None of them had ever had the pleasure of visiting the location, but they had heard that there were some lovely and gorgeous hiking paths there. Even though the travel took many hours, they felt it was worthwhile when they came to a stop in a little parking lot close to the forest. After taking their backpacks and hiking equipment from the car, they started to trek through the forest. They would just wander. They had no plan or objective in mind. They had to put up a campground first, though. The family sought a place to stay the night so they could have a central location for their excursions and forest explorations. After just 30 minutes of trekking, they arrived at a clearing next to a stream, where Justin assisted his parents in setting up tents and getting everything ready. But before long, they were all starving, so they divided up to investigate the vicinity of the tents. Justin went beyond as they were looking for fresh mushrooms to pluck and prepare. He was too preoccupied taking in the scenery and seeing the little animals and birds darting here and there as he strolled. He eventually saw that the campground was vanished from sight. He was disoriented. He called out for his parents, screaming at the top of his lungs, but no one answered. Would Justin ever manage to return to a secure place? In an attempt to collect himself, Justin considered the best course of action. It dawned on him suddenly. He would attempt to go back and follow his path. He could make his way back to the campground if he could only follow his path. He then started to go back in the approximate direction he had arrived. But Justin was shocked to come across an old, abandoned automobile while out for a stroll. He would have known that he hadn't passed that previously. He made the decision to wait inside the car in case any wild creatures emerged because it was growing dark outside. He tried not to panic too much as he sat calmly in the automobile, but he heard the sounds, as though by some miracle. His father's voice called out to him. Even though he sounded quite distant, he was definitely his father. With the hopes that his father would hear and find him, Justin leaped out of the car and gave a call back. A few minutes later, he heard footsteps getting closer, and he hurried to give his dad a hug. Thankfully, he was spared from having to spend the night by himself in the automobile. Naturally, Justin was relieved, but he was also eager to inform his father about the abandoned automobile he had discovered right behind the bushes. He turned and walked his father up to the rusted old car, and the two of them gasped at how retro it looked. It was definitely beautiful. Even in the fading light, they could see that it was a classic and must have had a stunning appearance at one time. They agreed to return the next day when there would be more light to have a closer look. Indeed, Justin and his father went to the location where they had discovered the automobile the following day. Hoping to discover something intriguing, they made the decision to peek inside and see what was there. Neither the footwells nor the back seats of the vehicle drew any curiosity. However, they were really taken aback when they opened the trunk. Though they weren't aware of it at the time, it contained something unusual and special that would ultimately alter their lives. There was a big metal box in the trunk, next to some rusted tools and under a few old garments. This box wasn't very unique, but for some reason Justin and his father were drawn to it as though it had a secret. When they took a closer look, they saw that it was locked. As they pulled it forward, they saw that the side of it had some inscription etched on it. Wiping away some rust and grime, Justin's father tried to decipher the handwritten words. It said, "If you find this box, please take it to the address below." It was followed by a date, sometime in 1995, and an address. Justin's father told his son that the address was only a few miles away from there. They spoke about whether or not to follow the instructions on the box and send it back to the address. If it was lost, then that's what had to be done, and Justin begged his father to assist in getting it back to its rightful owner. Nevertheless, a part of them both was curious about what was inside and how it came into the forest, where it was abandoned for so long to rust and forget. They made the decision to take the box to its proper owner after opening it to examine what was inside. Thus, Justin's father and he removed it from the trunk. They placed it down on the ground with a dull thud after realizing how hefty it was. The lock had almost completely corroded, and it came off rather easily. When Justin's father lifted the lid, they both gasped and stared in disbelief at what they saw. A number of gold bars and shimmering golden jewelry were inside the package. Beneath them were a few military medals and several pictures of a man dressed in various clothes from the military. It was a startling revelation. Though Justin was an honest youngster, and his father wished to honor his decision to return the box and its contents to their rightful owner, they could have kept everything and gained a modest fortune. When they got back to their tent, they told Justin's mother what they had discovered. Even though she was astonished, she agreed with their choice, and an hour later, they were at a little dilapidated wooden house rapping on the door. The box showed that this was the correct address. After a while, the door opened, and they saw Linda, a little elderly woman. She was perplexed and unable to identify the guests. They informed her about their discoveries in the jungle and related their narrative. However, the old woman began to cry softly when they lifted the lid. It seemed as though 1,000 agonizing, long-forgotten memories had suddenly returned to her. She ignored the gold jewelry and picked up one of the pictures right away, introducing Jack, her spouse, as the man in the uniform. Jack had learned that when his grandfather died many years ago, he had left him a sizable bequest. Jack's father was not happy and desired the jewelry and gold for himself. So Jack had discovered an old box, hidden the valuables inside, and gone into the forest to bury them in order to prevent him from obtaining it. Sadly, Jack had never come back. A week later, his body was discovered dead on the side of the road, and his automobile was never located. After years of grief, Linda went into the forest to hunt for the automobile, but no matter how hard she searched, she was never able to locate it. However, Justin and his dad had recently discovered it. The problem is that she had no interest in the gold. She had nothing to spend it on and no relatives. She told the youngster he could take all the riches, but all she wanted were the pictures of her darling Jack. Linda persisted, claiming that it was the least she could do for him, even though he refused. Justin eventually gave up. Even though he was unable to bring her spouse back, he succeeded in providing closure for her memories, which was the next best thing. By the way, he had amassed an enormous wealth. It is now your turn to handle. If you had discovered the jewels and gold box, how would you have responded? Would you have given it back to its original owner or retained it? As usual, please feel free to share your ideas and opinions in the space provided below for comments. We look forward to hearing from you. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.